Thanks for joining us. My name is Cash Parrish. If you have checked out the previous videos, we left off with the idea session, the big idea, and now we'll talk about the market research. The reason why we did the idea session first, because we wanted to get the idea out of our head as clear as possible of what we think may work. Now we have taken all of that information that we have bottled up to pick one market segment, to pick one problem that we are trying to solve, and we are coming to the means of market research to find questions and answers. Okay, so why am I expressing that? Because the first thing we need to think about is, what are we trying to understand? What are we looking up? What are we researching? What is the market? So the market is going to be a group of people that has a particular ability to connect and interconnect and speak with each other, and we want to segment that market to have a customer segment of that market. So for instance, they may have a weight loss market where all the people come to the market, the vitamin stores, the fitness outfits, the gym membership companies. All of these people are in the market. This is where everybody come together and mingle, mix and meet. It's like having a supermarket where there is the rice man is there, the bean man is there, the bread man is there, the beverage man is there. Everybody's there in the market because they all have products that support one another, that compete with one another. That's the market. So you want to do market research. You want to understand the market that you are in and who's in the market. Then you want to break a piece of that market away to understand your customer segment. So that's where we talk about your target audience, or the smaller part of that market. Who is giving the attention to that smaller part of the market? Who is solving a problem for that smaller part of the market? Now, we talk about startup entrepreneurship. It does not mean because you are a genius, you've came up with something that nobody else came up with. Many times you find that you have a great idea, and sometimes people are working on the same idea across the country. Sometimes you find that people had that idea 5-10 years ago and it did not work. It went out of business. Sometimes you will find that that idea was before its time. Sometimes you can find a lot of different information. So the first thing we want to understand is, what are we researching? What are we trying to look up? So we want to find the market. Where is the market? Where are they located? Who's in that market space? And then we want to understand who gives the attention to our customer segmentation. So one way we could do market research is by using search engines. So we can use things like Google to type in our problem and see if a solution pops up. We can type in how to fix XYZ, or what to do, blah, 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 just to try to figure out, is there something of such already in existence that we can look at to see what they are doing, so we can model our business differently, or we can model our concept differently, or we can take their concept to get a prototype idea or vision to see if it's a market that's worth entering into. But we can use Google, we can use Yahoo, we can use Bing. We can also use social media to do hashtag research to find out, is there a hashtag that supports this type of industry, this product? So that way we can look into that market, we can look into that product, we can look into that niche, and start to dig up information about the users, information about the product, information about the comments and the concerns, or the tech support, or anything of that nature. We can look it up to find out what exists in that space. If you have a mobile app, this may sound crazy, but in my experience, people who have a mobile app do not usually do market research in the mobile app stores. That's the first place. If you have a mobile app and you're trying to be in that business, the first place you will want to go is, if you're thinking about an iOS app or your Android, or maybe both, is to go in the Google Play Store, go into the iOS Apple stores, and find if there's a solution to the problem you're trying to solve. That is where you're going to find what market is also there. If you're thinking about creating something that is similar to something else, you can see how many downloads those similar products get, how many downloads are in that niche, how big is that niche in the app store. Is it a 5 million download? Is it a 500,000 download? Is it a 10 million download? What is the average amount of downloads for similar products or related products to that particular product you're trying to service? It may, again, sound crazy. Like, what? People don't go to the App Store? Time and time again, people go to Google or whatever for their research, but they're not researching the particular market where they're building the actual product. So if you're building a website or something that's digital, I would recommend social media and search engines. If you're dealing with a mobile app, I would recommend the App Store is the basis for your start for market research. Now, the next thing I would recommend is if there is a market report that you can purchase, if you can get it from someone who is credible that has done market research on a particular niche or industry that you are in, and you can afford the market research, pay for the report so you can read it. What we have to understand is reports are historical. Anytime you do market research, it's what has happened. It doesn't mean that this trend is going to continue. It doesn't mean that there won't be a new trend. It just means you have historical data to try to find out the answers to the questions that we want to solve. The same questions that we was talking about in the think tank session, in the ideas session. Who is the competition? How big is the market? How much money can we make? How many competitors are actually there? What is the product like in the market? Can we innovate what's already in existence? Are we creating a new market? Are we bringing something that's never been done to the industry? How will we be unique? These are the things that we are searching from through market research to try to validate that we should continue to go forward with our idea or our thought or our vision. Now, sometimes you won't find any information. You can search for a day or 2 or 3, 4 days and you just don't find the information. That still doesn't mean it is not out there. Sometimes the people who are doing the same ideas have poor marketing, poor SEO skills, poor content creation skills, and they do not stay consistent, market themselves to where they can be easily discovered. But you should do a thorough due diligence process to make sure that the market is viable for you to achieve success. Now, I would recommend you also look at industry magazines, industry books. Those things can help you. Sometimes people in the industry have already done insight to create their magazine or article or blog or something of that nature. So you will want to look at that. The next thing you will want to look at in particular is public company reports. If it is a public company that you're trying to compete against, if they're public, they have to report their funds, and that'll give you an understanding of what that company makes, what you're up against, maybe how much market share they have. They can find a lot of information from that. Last but not least, if you are in a community that has a small business development center and you're getting support and assistance from them, sometimes they are able to get their hands on market reports or information that you and I can't easily gather or get our hands on. So those are some ways that I would say to start your marketing. We're going to talk about some other things when we come back. So we're just going to express it again. What is the goal of the market research that we're doing? One is we're trying to find the competition. Who is the competition inside the industry? We're also trying to find the market size. What size is the market? Is the market big enough to become attractive so that way we are able to pursue an opportunity inside of that market, as well as we're going to be able to get the support systems that we need or the support resources that we need as well. There's also trends that happens in markets. There's times and seasons, there's highs and lows, there's peak seasons, there's off seasons, and again, there's different trends that are coming. Now they may have a new innovative product that they're expecting to hit the market and revolutionize the way that the industry works when this new product drops, or this is the latest trend in buying habits. These are the latest trends in actually development of products, or cheaper tools, or cheaper equipment, faster processes. So there are different trends that happens inside of different products or different services and different industries. So you also want to be aware of the trends that is happening, because if you want to launch a product, it is better to know if the product is on an incline or a decline. It's also better to know if you're trying to launch a product at a time that is going to be the slow times. so that way you know we're not going to make money if we release in the month of December through February. Our money will start to come in March. So we need to have this product produced and marketed and ready for sales come March the 1st versus December the 1st. There's so many different things that you want to see, but you really just want to have a full awareness to make sure this is an opportunity you should seize at this time. It's an opportunity that you should pursue. We also want to do market research to be able to find suppliers of the tools or the items or the services that we need. We want to be able to find the developers. If you are in the mobile app space, but you do not have the skill sets to develop an application, you want to understand, well, how much does it cost to develop said application? How much would it cost to get a developer to work on your team? How many developers do you need? Do you want to offer them equity into the company? Do you need to go out and find developers? Do you need to have a certain supplier to supply you a certain product that they can hold you hostage because they're the only people who have that product? They can drive your price up or down. So there's a lot of things that you want to know. Is it viable? Is it feasible for you to approach this particular opportunity? And once you have all the information from suppliers, from developers, the trends in the market research, the competition, the market size. And we want to know those things because there is an average cost to do business. Can we afford the cost? Can we afford the supplies? Can we afford to produce it? Do we understand the time frame that it would take to get this piece, to produce this item? So many different elements can go into it, and you and I must understand, if we do not have full creative control to create it and produce it, then we are counting on other people as a part of our business model. And that is something that you have to consider before you approach it. How do you control every aspect of it so that way you are able to maintain control of the sales, so you are not going to be able to be put out of business. Some companies say if you don't buy $10,000 worth of this, 15 crates of this, we won't sell it to you at a price that you can afford. Well, if you buy $15,000 worth of it, 10,000 crates of it, what happens if you can't sell it? Where do you store it? How do you maintain it? Will it age? Will it break down on you? There's so many other elements that you have to think about prior to making a final decision. But when you make that final decision, you want to have all the information and the facts. We don't want to just jump into an opportunity blindly, all because we have ambition and we have passion for a certain project. We want to jump in with sensibility, knowledge, and being able to make a sound decision as a CEO or as a founder of a business based off of facts and data, not based off of emotion. We're also doing the market research so we can validate what we assume the problem was and what we assume the solution is. We want to validate that. We already did a think tank session. We came up with a group of people that said this is the market. We came up with a problem. We came up with a solution. Now what we want to do is go to the internet. We want to go to the app stores. We want to go to the market research. We want to find out, is this the market that we should be working with? Is this the correct size? We want to hear what the people are saying. We want to read what they are saying. We want to find out, are people in this market, or is there people in this market that is suffering from the problem that we believe exists? And do they have a solution? What solutions are they using? Maybe they're hooking up a solution that works for them, but nobody has mass produced the solution. Maybe they have a workaround. Maybe they have some kind of other mechanisms that if you add this with this, you'll come out with this. That you're saying my product eliminates those two components. We just use this one component. So those things are questions that you want to ask yourself. Can you validate your assumptions based off of the information that is out there? Now, I'm not trying to tell you because the information is on the internet that it's accurate. You and I still need to get this prototype or this proof of concept situation out to the public so we can say, these are the exact people who I think will buy my product. This is my proof of concept. This is my prototype. This is my prototype. This is my mock-up. This is what I'm showing to the people, and I'm explaining to them how it works and what it would do. And we want to validate that concept actually works for those people. So that way that will become proof of concept. Now that is the only way you should guarantee the money that you have from lenders, banks, from investors, or your own personal finances and savings, is that you have taken that market research. It gave you the confidence to make a prototype. You've executed that prototype in front of people to create what we call a proof of concept. And I'll talk about that on another video. Once we are able to look at the information that we receive online, we can find needs and desires. We can also find new opportunities or new problems. So we really want to say, based off of what we thought the problem is, if that is the accurate problem we need to approach. We may find there's a bigger problem. We may find that there's a bigger opportunity. So we have to make a decision. Should we go for the bigger opportunities, the bigger problems, or should we stay in our lane? The only way we can make these decisions is we have to have all the information. Many times there's in industry magazines, there are write-ups on a company that's forthcoming. This company plans to launch this spring. This company launched this May. This company launched next November. Those magazines will allow you to read up the information on this product and what it can do and how it will change things. So you really want to be conscious. Are there new entrants to the market? Are there new startups that are already launching or already in the works? Who do you have to beat to market? Who has the market share? Who will have the market share? Will the company that come out first be the only product that the people need? Are they doing it in a way that you can get advanced copy? Can you be a tester so you can see the product and you can understand how the product works so you can build something that is unique and different from their product? There's many different things that we would say in reference to knowing who your competition is, because there's two things that you want to think about. If there is no competition, is the market so new that you have to dump money into it to express to the world what it is that you're trying to do? And if there is no competition, is it a market worth fighting for when nobody else wants it? So you really have to think about it, like, why is nobody here? Has anybody tried this idea? Why haven't anybody tried this idea? Is the market really good, or is it really bad that we should or should not approach this market? You want to ask yourself some tough questions, because we are building a startup. The difference in a $100,000 idea and a $100 million idea, or a $5,000 idea and a $5 million idea. Again, it has to be the right idea. It has to start in essence from the beginning to be something great that other people will follow that vision, saying that's a great vision, that's a great idea, that's a great concept, and it's large enough to pay everybody the salaries, the income that they need to be workers of it, as well as the investors can make a profit enough to be an investor of it. So again, the idea has to be the right fit. We also want to do market research so we can figure out what is the average development time, average development cost, average launching cost to launch a product such as this. How much money do we think we need to just get us from the stage of idea to development? How much money do we need to get from development to sales? We have to come up with some kind of ballpark figure. Now, if we start to think about we're poor, we're from the ghetto, we don't have any rich relatives and friends and family, we don't know any investors, we don't have any relationships, and we need $3 million to get started. Well, then that's a hard fight. That's a fight that we're going to have to figure out how to build relationships with people with money, probably before or during the time we're building the actual concept. If we need $1 million just to get the concept up, $500,000, we may not never get that concept up without the right relationships. So it is in our best interest to understand how deep in the rabbit hole we must go so we can understand how we can get out that hole at the same time. I'm going to say this is things I'll talk about in other videos. The chances that you and I will get a big $300,000, $500,000, $1 million of investment from an angel investor or a VC is slim to none without a relationship. For one, people don't give money to strangers. People don't give money for good ideas. Angel investors buy into the entrepreneur and they buy into the opportunity. If the opportunity is large enough, you validated the proof of concept, you validated there's demand for this actual product. Not only will people use it, but people will buy it and they're ready to buy it. Then you can get people to invest, but they still have to love, like, trust, believe in you and your vision, so that way they will release that check. Because an angel investor is releasing personal funds most of the time. And if it's personal funds, they're going to look at it personally with a different eye than somebody else's who's loaning you someone else's money. So I'm saying that to say, because your first stages in the game, typically, if you need development costs, launching costs, you typically go after some friends and family and some Kickstarters. Then you usually go to some angels. And you have to have traction to get to some of these people. So that's going to be the complexity. You can't get traction if you can't develop the product. You can't develop the product if you're trying to build something so massive and so expensive. So that's why we said market segment, a smaller segment, a smaller problem, a smaller solution brings the product down to this much. Get it out there, sell it, make money back, show that there's a valuable market. Then push yourself forward to say, now I want to add in more features. I need more development money. Now I want to add in more clientele or a diverse segment. So I need marketing money. And people will give it to you with a better proven track record. It's better than theory. We're wrapping up. I want to talk about this. We want to find what marketing channels can we execute on and dominate. Sometimes as founders, startups, we are focusing on multiple channels: Facebook, YouTube, email marketing, SEO, AdWords, just diverse ways of trying to make the money back. But we need to understand, as a small team, as a small company, what channel do we understand that we can market on, that our market is there. If you're doing a lot of serious education, let's say, for instance, you are teaching nurses some kind of continuous education in nursing, or you're teaching the latest techniques or tricks some kind of way to somebody in the medical field. Well, Instagram has millions of people, but when people are on Instagram, they're really not trying to sit down and take a course, really learn and study. So that may not be the best channel to run your continuous education nursing marketing through. Not saying it isn't, I'm just trying to give you an idea, so I'm trying to give you an example. If you're trying to do app development, then talking on Instagram or posting on Instagram may not be the best fit. It may be a better fit on YouTube. It may be a better fit on blog sites. So you have to understand where your message will resonate and where it will fit and what you can control, that the market reacts to, that the market is there for. What I mean that the market, the segment, the customer segment is actually there in the market, on the blogs, reading the content. They're actually on the YouTube watching the video. Because if you're posting content in a channel that does not bring you back the sales that you need, then how will you sell the product? And you'll never get the traction. So even when you decide to pick the idea, you must say, just to start it off, we're a small team. What can we do? Can we actually market this product? Is what I'm trying to get to. How can we market this product? What are some options to market this product? And thinking, what's the smallest, fastest thing that we can operate, that we can get it started, and we can get some small sales in, so we can learn, get some feedback on our minimal valuable products, so we can get some clients, so we can have a database. What can we do? Then you pick something. And if it aligns with everything else, then you say, I really think we have an opportunity here. Not only is the solution right for the problem, also the market is right for the problem and a solution. Also, the marketing channels that we can take is right. We have the ability to get with the suppliers and the developers. All of that fits. Everything's starting to look like its potential. Now, we will run into some problems with every aspect, but we see that competition is low. The market size is growing. It's escalating. It's predicted to do $1 billion in revenue this year. We have opportunities that we can insert ourselves into this market and do something unique that will distinguish us to make a profitable business. To understand all of those things, you have to do what we call an introspection. Take time to look at one's own mind. Take time to look at one's own business. Intro. We want to understand, is it viable? Is it feasible for us to do it. So we're going to do a SWOT analysis. What's our strengths, weaknesses? What's the opportunities? What's the threats? We just want to try to analyze those things against me, my team, or whoever, so we can understand, can we pursue this? Do we have enough manpower, smarts, money amongst us, 1, 2, or 3 people, to try to build this startup to the point where we can start to get help? So again, is it feasible? Is it viable? Can we do it? Should we do it? On top of SWOT analysis to analyze us, to analyze our condition, to tell us what's our strengths, what's our weaknesses, what's our opportunities, and what's the threats that are out there that we may have to go up against. Can we pull this off? Last but not least, what kind of fees, what kind of licenses, what kind of certifications do we need? Do we need any of that? If we don't need any of those things, because we always talk about, well, we're going to have a startup, we're going to be global, we're going to be in some other markets. Well, some other markets may not allow your website or your application to be used in that particular country, that particular continent, that particular arena. China may say, no, we don't want to use Facebook over here. We're not going to allow Facebook to talk to our people. Somebody in Russia may say, no, we don't want Snapchat in this particular country. So they have the ability to turn it off and on. Some fees, some licenses, some political things may have to happen for you to be into that space. So you really want to check all of those things before you make your decision. I know that's a lot of information, but what we want to be conscious of, if we make the wrong decision and things do not go as we thought they could go, we can actually lose a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of energy by just picking the wrong things that if we did 1 or 2 days worth of due diligent research for a couple of hours between you and your team, you would have discovered a lot more problems and issues that we need to discuss before we make a final decision to say, this is the idea, this is the concept, we are going to go for it. All you want to do is make sure you do your due diligence. The best thing I could tell you is take your time. Take your time, be patient. If it's going to be consistent, but be patient. You know, if it's going to work, it's going to work, but you got to work the process. Skipping steps in the process what's caused many entrepreneurs to fail all the time, because I'm smart. I know everything. I'm smarter than this. I can bypass that. I don't need to know that. I just feel it in my heart and soul. It's in my bones. I know what I know. I got intuition and all of those things. And you can be sincere, but you can be sincerely wrong. So we want you to take your time, build it, have the evidence, be able to stand on the things that you're talking about, not because you think it, because you believe it, not because you've seen it, but because you have tried and tested it and you have factual data other than your opinion or your memory. That's another one. Many founders like to go in their memory. I've been in the cooking industry for 30 years. I know what they do. I know how it goes. I know what it is, you know, and then when you pull the analytical data, it doesn't match their memory. So we want you to have an idea based off of your feeling, your passion, your memory, but we want you to get the facts to validate it before you try to go out and pursue the next stages of entrepreneurship. Now, in the next videos, we're going to be talking about proof of concepts and MVPs, and the things that we really need to do to prove that we should be here trying to open up a business around this idea and this theory. You can do this. I admonish you to take your time, be patient, get your notebooks, go to the computers, get your information, print it, log it, make a file, go back to your team. If you have to go back to the think tank session and rearrange what we're going to target, but make sure whatever you do, you decide to document it to show the progress of what we thought and what we now think, and then settle your mind on an idea that the whole team can agree on. Settle your mind on an idea that's written out, that's explained and expressed to say, this is the vision. This is what we should for. Everybody's in agreement. Everybody knows the goals. Cool. Now let's make a plan for this particular product. The product shouldn't have 50 features and solve 80 problems. You should narrow it down 1, 2, 3 problems. You know, I tell people 1 to 5. I try to deal with 1, but if you focused on something that overlaps and it'll cure a couple of problems, fine. But I try to aim 1 problem, 1 market. That's a big problem. Let's cure this. Let's fix this. Let's go for it. And that's what we hang our marketing on. But you can do it. Everything is on a case-by-case situation. So you have to just use your entrepreneur smarts to figure out, should you focus on 3? Should you focus on 5 problems? How many features? Should I have 2 features? Should I have 4 features? You have to make those decisions yourself. But what is the minimal valuable product? We'll talk about that later, because after you give them the 4 or 5 features, you'll find that they're either gonna say, we don't like these 4 features, but we do like these 2 ideas that we think you should add to it. Take away this, add that. You may come out with they want 5 features before they want to purchase it. So I'm not telling you in this stage you have to have a final amount of features. You just need to have something enough to build your prototype or your mock-ups and stuff so you can get it to the market, so you can start to talk to the people, so you can understand what you should be building. My name is Cash Parrish. I hope that information has helped. You can reach me at www.cashparrish.education. If you have a problem, question, or concern, leave it down there in the bottom. Let's be a community, a society. Let's talk about these things, and let's express and expound on it more. As you all give me more feedback based off the things I said, I will make better videos, more videos. So do give me the comments so I can add more to the video or re-edit the video in a more comprehensive manner. Again, my name is Cash Parrish. I hope that the things I said can be helpful.